you have anything you want to ask or share or make sure we talk about, or that's what I have is not more important than what you want to talk about, so to speak. I want to make sure that we are able to do that. All right. Well, it is 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Another wonderful Saturday school. Except this is the good kind, like we talk about. Right? It's not the tension. It's not the one we get for fighting or not doing our homework or ditching or anything else. This is the good kind. This is where we rise and shine and win, right? Because we've already won. We win. So good morning, and thank you all for coming. It's always an honor and pleasure to share this time with you, to laugh, to talk, to learn, to come together and reason. So thank you all of you. And we are going to get into it. And just like I said, based on a little bit of what I heard us say this morning, may change up a little bit, but I'll start with a little warm up. Okay. Make sure you can see it. Can everyone see that? Alice H. Parker, just in case there's people in the car or walking around while they're listening. Alice H. Parker. All right. Who thinks they know who that is? Alice H. Parker. Who thinks they know? Okay. What do we think? Who is that?
No one said anything.
Okay.
The yeses were to they see the
screen. Okay.
And then Sparkle, but I do not. I don't know. That's why I'm quiet.
Okay. Who else?
I think Jessica doesn't know either. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like we don't know.
All right. So in the early 1900s, to warm a house, right, people used furnaces. They used whatever they could. But generally, the source of heat, whatever they used, coal, wood, and furnaces, little stove oven things that they could make up, were in one location. So heat was pretty much only received in the location that the heater, the thing was in, and it was only right where it was. So you had to literally stand right in front of the fireplace. We had to literally stand right in front of the furnace or stand right in front of something in order to get the heat, right? Well, in the early 1900s, this Black woman, Alice H. Parker, she was the first to receive a patent for a furnace, a gas furnace, basically, that would heat the whole house. So what she learned to do was apply basically what you call central heat. Mm. She was the first person to receive a patent for creating what we call today central heat. So her patent, her invention basically would take the cold air, suck the cold air out from the outside, bring it in, heat it, and then disperse that heat to all the various rooms in the house, which you call central air and heat. So it wouldn't be air. In that case, it wasn't air conditioning yet, but she created central heat. She was one of the pioneers of that thing in the early 1900s. Yes, there was a Black woman, Alice H. Parker. And so she basically got heat going in more than one place at one time. So she saved probably a whole lot of health, a whole lot of relationships. People didn't have to sit around each other after they got mad just to be warm. Everybody was able to go their own little separate spot and still be warm. So that's who this is. Alice H. Parker. She was essentially the inventor, the first person to receive a permit for a natural gas furnace that heated up the entire home, right? Every place that an air duct was. She created that air duct concept and system, along with heating and the whole thing. So wow. That's who she was.
That's incredible.
That's who she was. That's who she was. So that is wonderful. All right. Like I said, when we come on early at 7, before 7 o'clock, and we have little conversations, I like to hear what everyone is saying, whether it's 10 seconds of talking or 5 minutes of talking, whatever, because it gives me an understanding, not an understanding necessarily, but an idea of what's kind of going on, what's happening with us all. So sometimes I go back over things that we were talking about during that call or during that time first, because they seem like, oh, you know what? All right, let's talk about that a little bit. Somebody has a revelation or an understanding or has come out of the other side of an experience, or they finally say, huh, I never knew that. I never thought about that. And let me say it this way. I'll put it, you can go up or down, left or right, doesn't matter. Okay, we all start in our human experience, right? We all start with ignorance, meaning lack of knowledge. The goal is to get to the end of that, which is wisdom. So ignorance is the beginning. Wisdom is the end. Okay, so we go from ignorance, right, not knowing anything, right, to awareness, right? We become aware of something. Ignorance just means lack of knowledge. It doesn't mean stupidity. It just means you're ignorant. You don't know something is even out here, or you don't even know that you don't know what you don't know, right? So you have ignorance. Then you have awareness. You become aware that something exists. Not necessarily what to do with it or how to work it, but you just become aware of its existence, period, right? Then you get into knowledge, right? Where you are, you're aware of it, and now these have gaps in between, right? They have time in between, right? So when you're in each one and you're transitioning, going from one to the other, there's time in between, right? So you don't just go, just because you're aware of something, now you know it. There's time in between each of these, right? So your consciousness is expanding, becoming aware of something through each stage of these, right? So then you have knowledge, right? Then you have, right? Then you go to understanding. You understand what you know, right? Now you understand what you know. I see how this is. I see how this works. I see how this fits. I see, okay, cool. I see that. And now essentially you get to the end of that, which is wisdom. Wisdom is the collection. It's basically the cascading effect and then the collection of all the different stages, where now it's like I'm aware of something. I have knowledge of it. I know what it is. I know where it is, how it is. I understand what I know, right? I understand it. So I can apply it. And now wisdom is the outcome of all of these things. You're out on the other side. It's the 2020. Hindsight is 2020. It's the 2020 when you look back with clarity and say, oh, now I know. I know what happened, why it happened, how it happened, when it happened. I can repeat this thing if I want. I know when to apply this thing, how to apply this thing, where this thing applies, where it doesn't. Right? So I have a better, I'm wise. It's my knowledgeable application of something, right? So that I know what I'm going to get if I do it, what I'm going to get if I don't. I know why I'm applying it, why I should, why I shouldn't. That's really the thing that we're going through. That's the stages, right? When I was talking about this earlier with Leslie in particular, but we were talking about algorithms, talking about how if you ever watch a lot of YouTube vloggers or bloggers or YouTubers, and they always say, hit that like button, right? Because it helps the algorithm. And the algorithm essentially meaning, okay, this is something you like, let me show you more of it. And our consciousness is almost it's similar to YouTube. There's a whole bunch of stuff in it. And depending on what you like meaning like or dislike, meaning whatever catches your attention for you to respond to, you're now saying, show me more of that. And the key is to respond to what you want, not to what you don't, because you're only going to get more of what you're responding to. You are alerting your algorithm, which is what we would call your reticular activation system. That part in your brain that's saying, show me more of this thing based on my intense level of awareness of it. I want a red car, or I want a house with a white picket fence. So now you're driving and you see all the houses with white picket fences. Basically, whatever you attach your attention to, your consciousness focuses on that thing. And so when you keep hitting that thumbs up, when you keep hitting that striking that emotional chord, when you keep saying, I really like this, or I really don't like that, when you intensify your attention onto something, you are turning your consciousness to it. And you're saying, show me more of that. And we don't understand, show me more just means show me more. It doesn't mean show me more of the good or the bad. It means show me more of what I'm paying attention to, what I'm intensifying my attention on. So if I'm having a bad day, and we all have emotions, you don't have to run from them or hide from them. We all have days. But when we talk about when we are so focused and fixated on something that isn't going well, right? We don't realize we're hitting that or striking that chord. We're consistently hitting that algorithm. So it's going to keep showing us more of the same, because that's the way the law works. The law of mind works. Is whatever I place my attention on, and the more intensity, which people will call feeling, emotion, hate, like, love, it doesn't matter what it is. The emotion is just a reflection of your attention, of the intensity of your attention. If it's good, so to speak, it's like, it's love. If it's bad, so to speak, it's hate, it's fear, but it's just the emotional outcome of where your attention is being placed. And the longer you keep it there and the more you intensify that thing, the more of it you're going to see. You're hitting that algorithm. You're saying, show me more of the same, right? So if we are to understand that, then we understand that it is important where we place our attention, or how long we keep our attention in any given point, at any given point, to any different direction or any given thing, so that because we understand that whatever we keep our attention on, whatever we focus our attention on, our consciousness expands to show us more things like it. So if you keep it on health, you may find your health, I sleep better, or you may find, man, my back doesn't hurt as much, or you may find I'm getting less headaches, or you may find you'll start to, as you focus your attention on your health, on good health, right? You're saying, okay, this is what I want for myself. You're going to see more things that reflect that. If you focus your attention on lack, you're going to see more things that resemble that, because that's how the law works. It's not good or bad. It's just how it works. So understanding that wherever I keep my attention for a prolonged period of time, intensified with my emotions and feelings, when I keep hitting that thumbs up, that algorithm, that reticular activation system, that part of your brain where your consciousness now focuses on that which you keep shooting it toward, is going to expand, right? So our choice is not in the outcome. Our choice is in the income, meaning what we decide to do first, right? If I place it here, something's going to happen. What happens, I don't get to pick. Where I place it, I pick. That's where your power is placing. Do you hit that like button or not? There's a lot of things you can see, a lot of videos, you don't have a comment, you don't leave a comment, you don't hit the like button, you just watch it, or you don't watch all of it, or you maybe watch it all, but it doesn't move you enough either way, and you move on. So it doesn't become a part of you or your life. So it's important what you like, what you're liking, what you're striking the chord saying, show me more of this, because this just means show me more of whatever has your attention for a prolonged period of time. That is not a good or bad thing. That's not the way the law of mind works. There's no good or bad. It's just, what are you focused on? The outcome of your focus we call good or bad. We got what we wanted or we didn't. But the law itself doesn't work. It is no harder to think properly than it is to think improperly. It's just harder to think properly for most of us because we've been conditioned to think improperly. So not only are we learning a new thing, we're having to unlearn this thing that we've been conditioned to learn since we can remember learning anything, right? So it's not that it's actually harder. It's just that we're doing two things at once instead of one thing. And we're one of the two things we're doing with consciousness. So we're more aware of every little incremental success or so-called failure. When we're struggling, it's hard. When it's positive, when we're winning, it's good, but we're aware of everything because it's new. But we're not aware of the things that we're used to doing historically, habitually. And a lot of those are just improper, inappropriate, incorrect. So it seems like it's easier, but it's just conditioning. We've just been doing it for so long, right? So I wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit to get started because we have to understand, right? We have to become aware of how our mind works, that it's actually working. Your mind is working day and night, 24 hours a day. That's why you have dreams. Even if you don't remember them, you still dream, right? Even when you're so-called not awake, your mind is still working, right? So being aware of that and then having the knowledge of that. Wow, okay, if this is actually happening, then let me make sure I go to bed. Not necessarily I'm always in the best mood, but realizing like, hey, I can't go to bed looking crazy and feeling crazy because I'm gonna go to sleep with that, and I'm taking that into my thing. Right. I'm taking that into my sleep realm. Just like you can't just carry anything in your house. You can't carry a bag full of rats and then be like, well, I'm leaving. You can't carry a mind full of chaos and go to sleep and be like, well, I'm consciously leaving. I'm going to sleep. No, those rats are gonna be running around in your house. Right. Those things that you're going to sleep with are going to be running around in your mind. And if you just casually, through ignorance and lack of awareness and not knowing, not realizing what's going to happen if you do that, right? You're going to wake up and say, there's rats everywhere. You're going to wake up afraid. You're going to have a nightmare. Same thing, right? So when you have that understanding, you say, okay, I don't necessarily feel like it. I don't want to, but I realize I got to get my mind together before I go to sleep. Let me look at a picture of my kids or my significant other, or let me count some money. Whatever works for you. If you got to do 10 jumping jacks, do some push-ups, watch something funny, but go to bed. That's why it says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. But wrath doesn't always mean angry at another person. It could just be at your own self. It could be the wrath of lack, the wrath of sickness, the wrath of poverty, the wrath of pain, the wrath that something that just has you in extreme discomfort, or just enough discomfort to realize it, to be aware of, right? You want to do whatever it takes to get yourself out of that right before you go to sleep. Watch something funny, sing something loud, do whatever you have to do to make sure that you go into your altered state correctly, right? Properly, peacefully, as best you possibly can. Right? With that understanding, then that's when you have your wisdom. That's when it's like, hey, I know that I know, I understand, right? What I know, and I'm aware of what I know. And with all these three things, it stops ignorance, right, from coming down here. You block this off now. You block off the ignorance, the tax of ignorance, the outcome of ignorance, the outcome of not knowing. Right? Of, hey, don't bring that in here. Same type of thing, right? So just something as simple as that. Just going through these states of consciousness, of our conscious expanding. My intention here is always to expand our consciousness each weekend enough to have room to change your mind. Almost like expanding your shoe enough to put your foot in it, like a shoehorn, squeeze your foot in it, like some pants that you're trying to,
You gotta lay down.
You gotta lay down, have somebody, one person on each side, or you got to do whatever, right? Do what you got to do, right? But just expand your consciousness enough where you now have the ability to change your mind, where you now have the ability to say, hey, maybe I can get into this, into speaking well over myself, to myself, about myself, or about a situation in my life. Maybe I can get a better job. Maybe I can have better health. Just to open your consciousness enough to leave room for your mind to step into something that it couldn't get into before. Right? That is the intention, right? Everything doesn't happen overnight as far as Rome wasn't built in a day, as far as we don't have to go from here to there. But if we can keep going, we will get there. And like anything else, when it rains, it pours. When momentum starts, momentum is a big thing in life. You see that really as a real thing in sports. You look at people celebrating and they're still down 6 points. You're like, how are they celebrating? Because they were down 30 points 5 minutes ago. So the people that are losing look like they're winning, and the people that are winning are sad like they're losing. But it's just because momentum is a big thing, right? And when you can turn your mind around a little bit and start moving, when it's first dark, boy, you can, by the time you look up, the sun is rising. And now you're seeing things you never saw. Your mind is being illumined in ways it's never been. And now you're like, wow, this is actually all right. And then you start feeling encouraged and inspired, and you start moving, and you start feeling the momentum of that, right? Of these things. So, like I said, today it's good to have that 6:30 to 7 time, because it allows me to feel, all of us to feel the temperature of the room, see what's kind of going on with everyone, how everyone's doing, what everyone's thinking, where everyone is. So before I get going, let's make a little time, a little room for that. What's going on with everybody this week? What's happening? What do we want to talk about? What do we need to talk about?
Ooh, don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. I don't know how to word it politically correctly. You know, when you're in front of company.
Yeah. Yeah,
so I'm like,
you know these people coming over here? Now,
right.
Now you know we talked about it. Yeah, man. I still hear it.
Mic.
I can still hear it. I can still hear it like I'm set.
I'm gonna pass the mic. That's what I'm gonna do, because I like to be politically correct, especially in front of people who I'm not all the way familiar with. So I'm gonna pass the mic.
Okay, well, you can always hit me on the side if you need to, or if you find a way to say it that you're comfortable, it's all good. I think we're all mature enough and have solid enough hearts where we understand we're trying to get it together. Nobody's perfect. We're trying to get it together. But shoot, if we don't ever get any help, that's part of the reason we can't get together. Sometimes we just need a little help, right? We need a shoehorn, right? We just need somebody to help us get these on, right? So, okay, so yeah, we can come back to you whenever. And if nobody wants to, we'll keep it pushing. But if
Toya said, "Need me to translate?"
Hey man, whatever, Yeah, you guys work it out on the sideline. Call timeout, work it out on the sideline. All right. Is there anything else? Anybody will have anything they want to? That's most important. What we do here is for us to be able to take this information and live it on Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday, Monday. This is not some kind of theological seminary where we're talking about these high-minded, bloviating type of discussions. That's not what this is, right? We're learning how to think in order to live well. And we have to learn how to think about what we're doing every day and everyday things so that we can think properly to live well. So I just want to make room and space before I get on here running my mouth, so to speak, when there just may be days that we just want to talk about what's on our mind. So I just want to make room for that today. So if there's anyone who wants to do that, I just want to make room for that.
So, Coach, I'd like to learn a little bit more about imagination, like really opening up my mindset, or just like my consciousness to like imagination. I think I'm just in that space that I want to be able to dream bigger, imagine bigger, and not just look at what I've seen being done already and what's happening. Like to kind of, I don't know. I just want my imagination to grow. So I would like to know, how do I increase or be intentional about imagination?
So the faculty of it itself essentially is your inventive tool. Because invention, right, invenio, means to stumble upon. It doesn't mean to create, it means to stumble upon, because everything already exists. So your imagination basically is what happens when your consciousness is basically being stimulated, right? Everything is already in it, but it's being stimulated. And so now it's almost like when you're shaking the piggy bank. The money's in there, but you're turning over the piggy bank now, right? And you're trying to get what's in it out of it. So you open the hole in the bottom and you go like this, or you turn it over and you try to get the little coins coming out of the slit, right? But it's already in there. And so what you're doing when you're imagining is you are stimulating all the ideas that are already within you. All your desires, all your dreams, everything you'll ever want to be now, 15 years from now, 30 years from now are already there. What happens to most of us, and for most of us, is we're not willing to entertain them. Because as soon as the idea comes up, as soon as the imagination is stimulated, as soon as we start putting our hand in there, we're like, well, I shouldn't touch it because this is my piggy bank. Well, the coins didn't come out right away. What happens is we start talking ourselves down from something that pops up. We're unwilling to entertain it. And so to answer your question is, if you just sit down in some quietness, or if you just listen to your favorite song while you're driving, if you just go on a walk and you look in the sky, look up at the sky or the birds. My point is, if you just don't talk yourself out of it, you'll start to see that, especially when you're around things you like, or when you're listening to something you like, or when you're thinking about something you like, you'll start to see, almost like that algorithm we talk about, you'll start to see more thoughts come like it. And that is your imagination being stimulated. Everything is already in you, but a lot of times we can't hear our imagination, or we can't see what we're imagining because we cut it off so quickly. So we think it's actually the lack of faculty, when it's just we're not willing to entertain it once it turns on. We shut it off real quick, right? So if you are willing to entertain something I don't want to say small, but something small, just something that you're willing to entertain right now without cutting it off, like getting my nails done, getting your hair done, or getting those new jeans that you want. If you're willing to entertain that, and if you're willing to imagine like what those jeans will feel like, or imagine the compliment you'll get when you have those jeans, it won't even remain with the jeans, but the longer you stay in that, as long as you keep using that faculty, that part of your mind, right, the more you'll start to see other things that are just like those jeans. You'll start to see other things that you like that will start coming. When it rains, it pours. The other things like that, you'll start to see coming. Other ideas like, oh yeah, and that car I saw yesterday, that was nice. Oh yeah, that neighborhood I drove in. You'll actually start to see your imagination kicking in. You'll start to see it giving you more things from that algorithm, from that state that you're using it in. Like, yeah, I like this, and I like that, and I like this, and I like that. And when you say, you know what, I'll take that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I don't know how I'm physically going to get it, but I know if I can think it, I can have it. So if I just keep thinking it, right, then sooner or later that thought has to come out. It's just the way the law works. If you remember, okay, if all of us remember the Lord's Prayer, where it says, give us this day our daily bread, and all the other stuff. If you remember that one part where it says, as it is on earth, as it is in heaven. Does anybody remember that? Mm-hmm. That part where it says, as it is on earth, as it is in heaven, right? On earth, as it is in heaven. Well, that is to answer your question. Whatever is going on in heaven, whatever is going on within you is happening on earth, outside of you. Your first earth is your body. It's not the earth. It's your first earth is your body. The external thing outside of you, the first thing is your body. The first thing outside of that body is the earth after that, right? But whatever's going on in heaven is being reflected on earth. Whatever you see on earth, whatever we see in our outside world is what's going on within us in heaven. So if you change what's going on in heaven, you'll change what's going on in earth. If you change what you're entertaining, what you're imagining inside of you, you will change what you are seeing and experiencing outside of you. If you hit more likes on the inside in the algorithm, you'll start to see more videos like it, more thoughts like it, more feelings like it. You'll start to see more of what is going on, because the earth, the physical world, is nothing but an expression of the creative world. Your creative world is we would call heaven. That's where God lives. That's where you live. So whatever you're entertaining and whatever you are willing to entertain will become physically expressed. That's how all things are expressed. Somebody entertained making a TV. If they would have shut that thought down, there'd be no TV. Somebody entertained going to the moon. If no one were willing to enter, oh, we can't get there. How's that going to work? Has anybody ever been? Prove it to me. How's that going to do it? Who's going to drive? If we shut down the thought before we even give it long enough to be birthed, once you're willing to entertain it long enough, the ideas of how will come. But when we get the idea, we shut it down so quick, we can't get the idea of how. We don't stay in it long enough. We cut it, right? So when you're using your imagination, simply start with things that thrill you, that you would like to see, that you would like to imagine, that make you feel good with just at the thought of them. And the longer you think about things that make you feel good, the more of that you will see, and the more things like it you will see. You're hitting the algorithm. You are striking your reticular activation system. You are telling your consciousness, you are shaking the piggy bank and saying, okay, I want these things to come out, these type of things, because this is where my attention is. My attention is on these jeans, this car, these things, the feelings, the emotions that these things represent. I feel good when I get a new car. I feel good when I got the new jeans. I feel good when I got my hair and my nails done. I feel good when I get a raise at work. So the things may be different, but their reflection, what they actually make you feel, how they make you feel are the same. In the sense of, you may be thrilled, you may be happy, you may be overjoyed, but they're in that area. Right? So it's just like anything you learn, repetition. Just be willing to entertain the good that you desire, the good that comes across your mind. If you repeatedly do that, you will repeatedly get more of it. Right? So I don't want to say little things, but just start with things that you won't shut down so quick. And then you'll start to see more things like that. And then you get the repetition and time, you become more willing to entertain your good, to entertain the things that you're like, oh yeah, I like that. And you'll start to feel yourself creating momentum. Right? So what we're doing is not hard as far as it works this way. It's natural. We do it unnaturally. We've been conditioned to do it unnaturally. Oh man, when it rains, it pours. Oh God, here we go again. Oh, I knew it wasn't going to work. We focus on something and then we follow it up with those sentiments and those feelings, and then we get more ideas of the same. We've been conditioned to do it incorrectly. But the actual act of it is natural. And what we're just trying to do now is become conscious of the act so that we can do it on our behalf, so that we can choose what we do it for and on and what and with, so that we can actually make the law work for us and not against us in our ignorance. Make it work for us in our wisdom. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir, it did. I appreciate you, Coach.
Did? All right, wonderful, beautiful. Okay.
Coach, can I offer something on that line?
Sure.
So this is an idea that I got from James Altucher. And every day for a week, you write down 3 things that you see that you would like to make better in the world. So, whether that's how the line works at the car wash, whatever the case may be, you write down those 3 things. And then the following week, you pick one of the things that you wrote down from the first week, and you actually start to outline how you would do that. How would you make it better? How would that persist? And it just gets the mind working in the space of imagination, in thinking, how could this happen? How could that work? How could I make it better? How could I, grow vegetables in my front yard? Whatever the case may be, you're right. The practice is what you have to do. You have to practice. And this is just a methodology to practice.
We get better at anything we practice. It doesn't matter breaking into people's homes or being an athlete or being a business owner. We get repetition is the thing that makes us familiar with, comfortable with, and helps us get through that whole series of understanding, right? From ignorance to awareness to knowledge, all those different things. It's just repetition. The more time you spend with anything, with anyone, doing anything, the more familiar you get with it, the better you understand it. It understands you. You understand how it works and where it applies and how it applies. The more you just get access to it, the more you'll be able to work it. And the more it'll work, you'll understand it. You'll understand how to work it, right? So, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate it, Coach.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Anyone else? Anything we want to?
What's up, Coach Lucky? I got something for you.
Ah, my boy right there. Yes, sir. Justin.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of hard to put words to it, because it's like I wanted something, I wanted to do something, and then when it happened, it was like, oh snap, I really didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm in a season of reinventing myself, because I lost one of the biggest streams of my revenue. And in a sense, that's what I wanted because it was taking up the majority of my time and it was, becoming too stressful and too problematic. But now that it happened and I have my time back, it's like, I just kind of, a lot of thoughts going through my head, not sure which direction to go and just feeling inside my heart that like, yeah, this is the season where I got to reinvent myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, my thing is about like reinventing yourself. Like how, if you could give me some feedback on that.
Okay. So okay. So okay. You know what? Perfect. So will you go to that link I sent you, please? This is actually something we were going to cover today. And I'm going to show you somebody else who did what you just said. And see what they did, how they did it, because all of the people in this story are you. All of us here are all of these people in this story. Okay, so this is the prodigal son. We went over it a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to go into that part of it. Will you go down to 17? Go down, maybe. I think it's 17. Yes, okay. 17. So, Justin, right now, this is you. This is all of us, but this is you right now. So it said, when he came to his senses, right? And he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death, right? So I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. So first thing is, right, when he said he came to his senses, you just used a word. You said right now you are trying to do what?
Reinvent.
So when he came to his senses, where was he? Well, he was sleeping with the pigs in the pig pen. He actually hired himself out to work for the people for some people. He was a prince and he went off and did his thing. We all know. He got to the point where he actually hired himself out to somebody. And he ended up sleeping in the land. He ended up sleeping in the pig pen who he was taking care of the pigs. He was taking care of some pigs. And he ended up sleeping in the pig pen with the pigs. Does anybody remember coming to America when Eddie Murphy's dad came and he said, where's my son? And they said, he's at work. Did anybody remember what the dad said?
He said, work.
Right. He said, works? My son works? My son has a job? What? He was furious, right? He wasn't furious, but he was just like, what? My son works? Well, yeah, his son in this story was working, right? Because just like Eddie Murphy, he wanted more of himself. He wanted more from himself. And you actually just hit on this, and so I'm using this because this was actually something I was going to talk about today. If you look at Jacob and Esau in the book, Jacob was the younger son. Esau was the older son. And Jacob took Esau's birthright by convincing his father he was Esau, by dressing himself up to make himself feel like Esau, like the older brother. So his father gave him the blessing because historically the older brothers got the blessing. But the younger brother, the younger brother got the older one. In this book, if you go down just a little bit, I'm sorry, go down a little bit. Well, now in verse 28, what does it say? The older brother. So Esau was the older brother. Jacob took his thing. The older brother here was the one, and he said, I've been slaving for you all these years. The older brother is always mad at the younger brother. If you look at Joseph, when he got sold into slavery, because he told his brothers and mom and everybody that he was going to be the man in Egypt. And later on, he saved his whole family from starving because he had risen up the ranks in Egypt. But his older brothers were jealous of him and sold him into slavery and told his dad that he died. But they sold him into slavery. The point of all these things is that Jacob means supplanter. Jacob is hairless. The younger one is always overtaking the old one in the stories, because the younger one signifies the version of yourself that wants to be more than what it is. The older one, what does it say? It said, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. The older one is always playing it safe. The older one is the human aspect of ourselves. That's always staying right there. I stand, man, I got to stay real close because, I'm going to get an inheritance soon. And if I move, then my mom or my dad may forget me. Or if I don't call them every week, then, they may write me out of the will. They're always trying to play it safe because their safety is in proximity. They believe if they just stay around, if they just hang out and hang around, it's going to be okay. But there's a part of us that's that. There's the part of you that is Jacob. That is the younger one that says, nah, man, I'm out here. I want bigger. I want more. Right? And so he overtook his brother. The younger brother here said, hey, Dad, give me my stuff. It's YOLO out here. I only got a couple years. I got to get it. Right? So he's out here doing this thing, end up hiring himself out, sleeping with the pigs. Now, okay, I'm sorry. Will you go back up now? So he said, so right here, 17. When he came to his senses, he is now reinventing himself. He's saying, whoa, okay. This course, this has run its course. It's not that it's over. Your life is not over. It's not over. It's that this part of you has run its course, but you would have never come to this part without starting the journey. If you're not willing to leave your father's house, if you're not willing to listen to that part of you, like that, I believe that was Giovanni that was talking about, if you're not willing to do that, you're never going to get your desire, your gift. You're never going to get the inheritance, right? So what did he say? When he came to his senses, then he came to his father. He thought he had to start begging and pleading because he felt like he did the wrong thing. Now, look at what it says in verse at the end. He says, so he got up and went to his father. Then it says, but, right there, where it says, but while he was still a long way off, right? But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. And what did the father do?
He threw him.
He welcomed him back.
Right.
Yeah. What did his father do? Look at it. What did he do? What did the word say? What did he do first? What did he do?
He ran to him.
He ran to his son. He thought his dad was going to be mad. You think it's over. You think you failed. You think like, oh, what have I done, right? By going after what I really wanted, what have I done? I could have been the older brother. I could have been Esau. I could have been this older brother who's angry. Well, why do you think the brother's angry? He's angry because he didn't do what he wanted to do. He stayed around to play it safe. He thought, well, if I just be real good and real nice, have good manners, then I'm surely going to be in the running. Right? But there's that part of you that knows I am my father's son. I am the prince. I can do it. I may mess this up. Right? And you lose your mind for a second, but it's not because you mean to. It's just a part of your journey because you have a burning desire to really be free. And so then you look up and you say, oh, shoot, I done it to myself now. Would you say, oh, the thing I really wanted, I got. Now I got it. I'm like, man, did I really want that? Well, yeah, you really wanted it. You just may not have known how you were going to get it. But it doesn't mean you didn't want the freedom that you got. So now we think to ourselves, oh, shoot, now I'm really free. What am I going to do? But then there's that part of you, you're also the king. And the king will run to you and say, and throw your arms around you and kiss you and say, hey, man, I'm here. It's all good. This is a part of your journey. This isn't against me or against you. This is for you. This is how you get this. You got out. You got out of being your older brother who thinks they're just going to stand around and play it safe and get nothing. Or you're going to stay like Esau, who went out there to get some food for his dad and came back and lost his birthright. Right? You lose your joy, you lose your enthusiasm, you lose your passion, your zeal, your zest for life because you're sitting around trying to play it safe. Now, it doesn't mean that you're out here just throwing caution to the wind and you're out here just, no, it just means that all three of these characters are you. They're all you. They're different aspects of you. Within Justin is Jacob. Within Justin is the prodigal son, that part of you that wants to be more than what it is. And like Eddie Murphy says, look, I can stay here and be the king and be in Zamunda, and be with this girl who's gonna do just whatever I say, but that ain't really living. That's not what I want to do. And I am comfortable enough and confident enough. I may not be wise enough, but some of the wisdom I'm seeking comes from the journey, not before it, and not in spite of it. So what I'm saying to you is, right, his father said, he said, I've sinned against you. His father said, don't worry about it, right? His father said, don't worry about it. Will you pull it back up?
I don't know what I did. Sorry, hold on. Un momento.
So his father met him and threw his arms around him. I'm saying there's a part of you that's doing the same thing if you just allow it. You don't have to, all these, I'm sad or I'm sorry or it's my fault or my bad. That's what humanity does. And they end up like the older brothers, like Esau, like this one, like the older brothers who sold Joseph, because they're not willing to do anything. And they stay there. But no, there's that part of you that says, I want more, I want bigger, I am better. So his father, he came up, he gave him his apology. And his father said, don't worry about it. So then, if you go down, please. Right? He said, but the father said to his servants, what was the first word his father said? Right there in verse 22. What was the first word his father said?
Quick.
In verse 22. Quick,
hurry up.
Quick. There's that part of you, Justin, that is willing to provide for you quick, now. If you're not so concerned with verse 21, Father, I have sinned against heaven and you. I am no longer, what have I done? Oh God, what about, there's that part of us that does that, right? But that's part of our journey from being the Prince of Zamunda, right, to going to America, right? And wanting a Jerry curl and trying to figure out how to do all the things you're doing and working at McDonald's. It's your journey. You're trying to figure out, how can I really be who I want to be, not just this predestined set thing where I can just live it, but I'm just alive. I'm not living. So then once we do it, we think we made a mistake, but it's not a mistake. It's just part of your journey. So then we're like, oh, I made a mistake. I've sinned. I've messed up. But your father, that part is a part of Justin that says, quick, bring the best robe, not a robe. Bring the best robe. Quick, bring the best for my son and put it on. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Right? Bring the fatted calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. So you have to figure out which one of those you want for you. Which one of those you're going to believe. Are you going to stay in verse 21 where you're like, oh, shoot, I done messed up. And oh, my God, what am I going to do now? Or are you going to turn your consciousness to say, you know what? There's that king in me too. That's talking to that part of myself that went out to figure out who it was. And that is willing and able to take care of me. Because the king in me, there's that part of me that hasn't lost a thing. It still had a robe to put on your finger. A robe to put on your back. And quickly, it didn't say, oh man, anybody seen his robe? Man, did we put it in storage? Hey, man, take off his robe, man, give it back to him. No, what is yours is not lost. What is yours hasn't been taken away from you. Your father hasn't, just because he gave you your portion, so to speak, is not broke or bankrupt. There's that part of you, Justin, that ain't broke or bankrupt. You didn't lose anything. You learned something. You learned that now you are that prodigal son. You are Jacob. You are Joseph. You are the dreamer that says, you know what? There's more to what I got. There's more to what I am. There's more to what I'm experiencing, and I'm on it. I'm after it. And there's that part of you that says, you know what? Cool. Now Justin's saying, okay, I'm back. I went on my journey. I'm back. Now what? Now you say, okay, Dad, come on out. Part of me, come on out quick, right? Bring me my robe. Put it on me. Put my ring on. Put my sandals on. Slay this fatted calf. Let's get down. Let's party. What does it say? For this son of mine was dead, and now he's alive again. He was lost, and now he's found. So they began to celebrate. What I'm saying to you now is do the last word in that sentence. Celebrate. Celebrate yourself. Meaning, you know what? I am somebody. I did this for a reason. And I did it to get this ring and this sandals and this coat and this on this finger and this fatted calf. So you know what? I am going to assume my best. I am somebody. Yes, I am the prince. You did not, what you think you lost in the world, you didn't lose it to the most important person. The king. The king didn't say you out of here. The brother couldn't say you out of here. The person in authority said, quick, ran to you. Didn't say, oh, yeah, come on back. How'd it go for you? Yeah, I told you. Yeah, these ain't loyal. Yeah, right. Yeah, it doesn't condemn you is my point. Don't condemn yourself. There's that part of us. It's that all of us are them. There's the king that says, all right, son, you want to go out and try it? Cool. Isn't that what his dad said in coming to America? You want to go to America? Cool. Sow your royal oats? Cool. Go ahead and do your thing. I'm still the king. I'm not losing. You're just my son who needs to have more of an experience than what he's having and wants more for himself. I'm proud of you. I respect that. Go ahead and handle it. When you come back, boom, I'll wrap my arms around you quickly. And I'll put the best robe on you. So what I'm saying is take this and make this now your assumption. I have the best robe on me. My father, that part of myself, my consciousness embraces me and quickly and wants the best for me. And so now I'm going to say I have the best, that everything is working out for me. Everything is working for my highest and best good, that I am reinvented. I am the person I want to be, and celebrate that. And you will start to see that it will happen. But if you go back and become your older brother, if you let that part of you that says, look at what you did, how come you get to go off and mess your thing up? Well, that's not the king. So you don't pay attention to that. That's not the king. That don't have a say. That's just jealousy and hate. There was haters back then too. We didn't invent it. There was haters back then too. There's people out there risking it, going hard in the paint like them too. And there's the king back then, and you are all three people, right? So to answer your question, long answer short is, remember, you can choose what you want. You are the king. Now, do you want to be the older brother who's mad? Or do you want to be the younger brother that says, yeah, I reinvented myself. I'm back, y'all. But I'm back as a new me. I'm back with time I never had to do things I've never done. And I'm about to get that done. I'm about to put this robe on. I'm about to put this ring and these sandals on. I'm about to slay this fatted calf. Whatever I want to be, that is what is going to happen now. This was just part of my journey. I would have never been able to do this without the time. I would have never been able to do this without the journey. So this journey is not lack. This journey is not lost. This journey is not something bad happened. This journey was the beginning of your freedom. The beginning of you actually realizing that I really realize I'm the prince. Because I can do this and still be the prince. I can do this and my father still loves me. I can do this and my father ran to me. I didn't run to him. He ran to me. Right? That power in you is running to you, willing to embrace you. It has no guilt, no condemnation. There's no fear. There's no anger. It's not broke. You haven't spent up all your stuff. Now you're just really beginning to spend your stuff and know who you are. Now you know who you are on purpose because you did something. You didn't just say, I know who I am because it's the only thing I've ever known. No, you want to know who you are on purpose. You want to know who you are for real because you stepped out there and said, yeah, I'm him. I'm Eric Thomas. I'm him, right? I'm him. I'm that dude because I stepped out here and I know now because I've lived it. I didn't just say I'm the prince that my dad told me. So now I'm the prince because I went out here, did what I did, and I still came back and I got a robe and a ring and a staff and a fatted calf and we out here getting it. Right? And so now I know I'm the prince, and so I'm going to act like it now. Some things I just want to know, not because somebody told me, just because I want to know. I want to live, right? And no, that's what Eddie Murphy was doing. That's what this was doing. That's what you did, right? And just realize that Zamunda's always waiting, that the king is always waiting. There's that being in you, that part of your mind that's always waiting to embrace you. And if you don't be the older brother hater, if you don't be the other older brother hater, if you don't be the brothers of Joseph hating, you will be Joseph, you will be Jacob, and you will be the prodigal son, and you will be Justin, the prince, son of a king. right? Who says, yeah, we about to celebrate. We about to get it cracked, right? For real and on purpose.
Appreciate you, Coach. Drop the mic. I appreciate you. Yeah, man. I receive all of that.
Like literally, it bounced in my hand.
Right. Dropping dimes out here. Right. So, Justin, did that make sense to you?
Oh man, I mean, it made perfect sense, and I think just to ad lib on top of that is like,
Yes, sir.
you know, maybe I'm so used to like when something bad happens, like to just stew in it, because since then it's been nothing but like great things, opportunities, and even something bigger. Like I got this really important meeting next week, and like I should be celebrating, but then it's like I'm just carrying that maybe disappointment because I invested a lot of time, a lot of resources, and then like so quickly it was like just no more. So I don't know. I definitely I receive all of that, and that's definitely the adjustment I got to make, because there's no reason that I'm even still thinking about that situation.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, last thing I'll say to you, Justin, and to everybody, this is a good lesson for everybody. Be careful what you ask for, because if you ask God for something, you're gonna get it. But and sometimes because we don't know how we're going to get it, and we get it because it comes differently than we thought, we don't realize that we got what we wanted, but it seems crazy because we got it in a way that we wouldn't have thought we would have got it, but we got what we wanted. Because Justin at the beginning said, I wanted to do something different, so I actually got what I wanted. But sometimes the way we get it makes it think like, oh shoot, maybe I wanted the wrong thing. No, you wanted the right thing. You wanted to be free. You wanted to be doing this and that. And so you said you still have all these other wonderful things going on, right? But if we're unwilling to turn our consciousness to it, if you're unwilling to go back, that robe that's waiting for you, that ring that's waiting for you, that staff that's waiting for you, that calf ready to be slain for you, that's waiting for you, you will never experience. Not because it doesn't exist, but because you won't turn around, right? So it's good that you turned around, right? Turn around, take your attention off the pig pen and go back home as the king and be like, peace, I am out, right? So, yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Sparkle,
all right.
Sparkle Bailey is ready.
Okay, have you got your Obama interpreter?
Really appreciate that, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Justin, I appreciate you, Justin, for asking your question, because it gave me the words and the courage to ask. I sent it to Vero privately, and I was like, can you ask this question for me, please? And then I'm like, no, Justin's question and your response, Coach Lucky, made me kind of get it together.
Okay.
I'm choosing to control my emotions, because this is like hitting home for me.
Okay.
I want to understand the loneliness and breaking generational curses when you're the chosen one to break the curse. And you take that role very seriously, to the point that you sacrifice what everybody else is thriving in. You're sacrificing to change the trajectory for your lineage and for your family. I also want to understand identifying those trauma bonds, and establishing those new standards for yourself, so that it's like, I don't want to go too deep and name names and things like that, or titles, but it's just like when your family, your blood relatives, they just don't see their patterns. They don't see them, but you see them, and you've seen how you've participated in those patterns. And you're like, you know what? Enough. I will isolate myself if I have to, because this has to end with me. I'm not going to allow this to continue. I want this to stop. My children don't have to go through this. I'm willing to take those L's and make those sacrifices. But it's so lonely, because, the people who are the closest to you, when they don't understand, you look like the crazy person. And so for 30 plus years, you're the problem in their mind, but you know that you are the solution. Help me, Coach, please help me.
You are your solution, you're not theirs. Only they can be theirs. When you wake up in the morning and you have to, let's just say, you have to go to work. And let's say, you're going to drive yourself to work, but you work 4 a.m. in the morning. So everyone else in the house is asleep. So when you cut that light on, you're only cutting the light on for you. You're not cutting the light on for them. And there are people who are in your house, right? Analogously and metaphorically, there are people in your house sleep. But the only reason you're up is because you have somewhere to go. You have something to do. You have something you want to be. You have somewhere to go. But that's only you. They don't. And just because you do doesn't mean that they should. They don't work there. They don't want to work there. Maybe they do, but they don't work there yet. But the only reason you're up is because you work there. You wouldn't be up if you didn't work there either. Right? So what you have turned the light on for yourself. You didn't turn the light on for everyone else. You turn the light on for yourself. However, when someone else decides to wake up, they can wake up to light. They don't have to stumble around and hit their leg because you've already turned the light on. Right?
Okay,
but you didn't turn it on for them because,
okay. Hold on just a second, because you all in my life. You all in my house right now. Okay, listen. The question that I want to understand, the confusion that I want to understand is, I did you a favor. Hear me out, y'all. Please let me get this out because I'm stumbling over my words and I want to get it right. I turned the light on, right? Because I was ready to stand in the light. So I turned the light on. When they were ready, they decided to wake up and they saw the light was on. And it blessed them that the light was on. They didn't have to get up and turn it on. It was already on. How do I take the arrows to the back for 30 plus years and want the light on for them and not take the light somewhere else, if that makes sense? Because that's where
you have to realize that what you're turning, that no matter who benefited from it, you turn the light on for you first. It doesn't matter how many other people benefited from it afterward, because you wouldn't have turned the light on if you didn't need to see. So you didn't turn it on for them, you turned it on for you. No matter how long you turned it on, and no matter how many people used it afterward. There are people you open the door for and won't say thank you. There are people you turn the light on for, you turn the light on, left it on, and they'll call you and say, why'd you leave the light on? You wasted money. Yeah. There are people be mad you left the light on, right? Because they're like, girl, don't you see how high this bill is? My point is that when you turn the light on, you're doing it for you. We try to think because something benefits someone, maybe immediately or further down the line, that should make them be more appreciative or grateful than they are, but that doesn't necessarily make them more aware of than what they are. It doesn't make people different than what they are. And just because you turn the light on first, it means you were aware before they were. They just benefited from your awareness, but it doesn't mean that they had the awareness to turn the light on themselves. So that means that they may not be aware enough to be grateful for the light you turned on. It's not necessarily the arrows that they're shooting with the knowledge of a person who turned the light on. They're shooting arrows with the awareness of someone whose light was turned on for them. It's like if you read to your children every night, it doesn't mean they can read. They still are going to have to do some reading on their own in order to read on their own. It doesn't matter how much you do with or for somebody, it still does not give them the ability to do it themselves until they do it themselves. And the ability to do things yourself is a different level of consciousness or awareness than it is to benefit from somebody who does it for you. So it is different. It's not the same. You're asking them to have the same level of awareness of a person who turns the light on than a person who just benefits. That's like saying, I want you to be able to, you want your son or your daughter to drive just like you, and they don't even have a license, just because they're in the car with you every day, because they're benefiting from you driving. They are benefiting, but to benefit does not require the same level of consciousness, which means if you don't have the same level of consciousness, you cannot possibly produce the same level of behavior, which includes gratitude, emotions, awareness. They can't. It's not possible.
So what do I do?
That is why we're always trying to mature our children or things like that, because we realize they can never be more or be better than their level of consciousness. So we're trying to raise their level of consciousness by teaching them how to read, by teaching them how to write, by teaching them how to spell or add, by teaching them how to catch. They can never perform at that level without the introduction and then their participation. Somebody benefiting from your life does not make them an active participant. They are just participating. They're just benefiting, but that doesn't mean they're contributing. And so they can't contribute with a level of consciousness that's lower than the creator. Look at us as humans in our human form. Look at how we act in humanity. But God doesn't act like that. The highest level of thought doesn't act like that. In our carnal minds, we act like all kind of stuff, right? Look how many wars are going on. Look at all the right? Humanity is doing that in the sense of in its carnal mind. It's operating from a lower sense. So we steal from each other. God doesn't have to steal because God owns everything, right? But in our human form, we forget who we are. So what do? We steal, right? It just means that you, in that sense, may be God, meaning you may be the person in your environment operating at the highest level of thought. And other people are benefiting, but that doesn't mean that they can produce or replicate or reciprocate that. It doesn't mean that. Now, with your light on, you give them the opportunity. That's all you can give them. But you turn the light on for you. And just because they benefit doesn't mean they should or they have to or they have the means of being grateful, of being aware, of knowing what it takes to turn a light on. They don't necessarily know that because they didn't do it. They don't know. Like our kids don't know what it's like. How come I can't take me? Because it's traffic. Mom, it's not that big deal. Okay, wait till you get a license. Then you're 18 now and you say the word traffic. It's a whole nother level, right, of understanding than it was when you were 14.
Right.
Once you sit in some traffic 2 or 3 real good times where you're like, oh my God, and I have to use the bathroom, and I'm almost late to work. When you feel what traffic is in all of its forms, it has a different take on you. But you don't feel that when you're sitting in the driver's seat, when you're sitting in the passenger seat, no matter how long you benefit from these rides, no matter how many times you ride in the car with your mom, you don't know what it's like to be behind that wheel. And so when we turn the light on, first, it's for us. If somebody benefits, great. If they don't, great. I didn't turn it on for you anyway. I turned it on for me. If you can benefit from what I did for myself, great. If you can't, okay. Or until you can, okay. But understand that it's a different level of consciousness for the person who knows where a switch is, who knows. Does a baby go into a room looking for a light switch?
No.
No, they're not aware that thing exists. But the light may be on, so they benefit. But a baby doesn't know. They're not looking for a light switch. So they're not going to say thank you. They're not going to say, did you turn the light on or you hit the switch? They don't know. Right. But as we get older, we start looking for light switches. Right. Your kids know what a light switch is because their consciousness is opened up. So now that they do it, right, now that they turn it on, they're like, oh, that's how that works. So now they have a different level of consciousness they had before they did when they weren't hitting the switch, where they just got to walk into a lit room. So you have lit the room of your life first, and then any subsequent life is possible to be lit, but it's not mandatory. When you turn the light on in your house, there's people who roll over, put the covers over their head. They don't get up. They're just waiting for you to turn the light off, right? Because they don't want to wake up right now. And your light to them is not as beneficial as you may think, right?
I want to ask you a follow-up real quick, and then yes. I see there's a hand after me.
Yes.
Before I was the femininity fairy, I was the beat your A word fairy. Like that's what I would do. Like I was a fighter. Right. I had very serious anger management problems because I never felt safe. I never felt protected. Never felt safe. Because of that formula created this very aggressive version of myself.
Yes.
Fast forward to today, I understand how to control and manage my anger a lot more than I did as a child. I found my safe spaces. I've created safe spaces for those like myself. And I'm still learning, which is why, I asked the question. I'm still learning how to maneuver through the arrows to the back during you're turning the light on. You need the light on. Others are at whatever point, others are going to catch up and appreciate the light, or they won't appreciate the light. They'll just use it and go on with their day. That's fine. How do I continue to push forward when I'm surrounded by arrows being shot at me? How do you push through that? I don't understand that, because the old me would just knock your head off and deal with the consequences unapologetically. I'm not that woman anymore. I'm not that girl anymore. But there's still those times where, and it's not like it's strangers. It's the people closest to you. And so it's just like, I'm glad my son is here listening, because he's like, I get to see this version of my mom as well. My mom is doing the work. Those around us, they're not doing the work. So how can I protect my mom? How can my mom protect herself? Like, help me, please help me, because I'm not even playing. I'm so serious.
Okay. So can everybody see these 2 words? Family and strangers. What do these 2 have in common?
Legs and arms, I guess.
Right? What is the common denominator? They are both what?
People.
People. So do you know what a person is more than a family member?
A person.
A person. Do you know what a stranger is more than a stranger?
A person.
A person. So guess what? What they have in common is really what they are more than the difference. So the only reason we think our family should do different is because they're our family. But we just like to conveniently circle this one and we just cross out that. We're like, yeah, well, they're our family. They're not a person, they're a family. No, they're a person. They're a person. They are that first. Before you were a mother, you were a person. Before they even realized they were your brother, they were a person, or your sister. They were a person, people are people first. That's first thing. So having a different expectation of our family is normal, is natural, but it can't override the overarching truth is people are people. And people act the same. Generally, they act the same. Under the same circumstances, people generally act the same. Who's in a good mood when they have a headache? Who's in a good mood when they have a stomach ache? Who's in a good mood after 3 hours of traffic? Who's in a good mood after you had to give somebody a piece of your mind in the grocery store? Who's in a good mood, right? Like we all act the same under the same circumstances generally, because more than being a human or more being a family member or a stranger, they are, number one, they are a person. That's number one. So expecting people to act differently because they're closer to you is reasonable and understandable, but overarchingly, it's not the actual truth. It's true, we have that expectation, and truly most of the time they do, and truly it's most hurtful when they don't, but at the end of the day, they still are a person. And people act the same generally given the same conditions. So we have to understand that, number one, what you do for you, you've done for you. And it's always worth what you do for you, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks about it, because it was for you. And that has to be the most important thing for you and to you so that you can continue to do the things that are for you. Right? Because whether you're angry or you're sad or whatever else, or mad or happy or glad, at the end of the day, it's you that's that. It's you that's got that backpack on that's carrying that luggage. It's you the bag lady, right? Like Erykah Badu. You got to figure out if you're carrying a money bag or something else, right? That's number one. Number two, what I would suggest you do, even better than that, change your concept of yourself. Change your concept of who you are and what your relationship to things are around you. Change that. Change the story you're now telling. You don't have to talk to anybody. Talk to yourself. Be willing, like the prodigal son, to come back. Come back. How would God handle this situation? How would a God handle this situation? You know what? I'm going to start talking to myself like everyone in my world means me well and treats me kindly. Every person is a chain and a link of my good. Everything is working toward my highest and best good. You just start conditioning your mind. You start conditioning your algorithm. You start hitting that like button to yourself over and over and over and over. Start changing what you're saying to yourself about your circumstances and condition, because you're the only one that can change it. Relying on everyone else to change, be different, do different, and everything else is not the way to change anything. The only way you can change your life is if you change it. And you change it by changing what you're conscious of, what you're aware of being or doing or having, right? So you start saying to yourself, like I said, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No harm shall come nigh my dwelling. I don't have any opposition. I don't have any competition. I don't have nobody coming at me, coming for me. Everything is working for my highest and best good. Everyone is working for my highest and best good. Everyone is a link in the chain of my good, means me well and treats me kindly. Everything is working for me. And you say it to yourself over and over and over. Do you physically have a way to make that happen? No, because if you did, you would have. But you're not relying on your physicality anymore. Now you're relying on your mentality. You're not relying on your consciousness now. That is God, that is I am, that I can do everything. What to say? With God, all things are possible. And all things are possible to him who believes. All things are possible to the mind that's willing to believe it so. But we have to be willing to say it so before we see it being so. It was dark before God said, let there be light. It was dark only because God didn't say, let there be light. As soon as God said, let there be light, there's light. Guess what? I don't know. We're on the West Coast. So if it's light out here, it's got to be light where everyone else is. So that means light is still happening. And this was written over thousands of years ago. Light is still up. So my point is that anything you want to see in life, unless or until you're willing to say, let there be, that it is this way, is going to remain as it is. Not because it's bad or wrong, but because you, the authority in your life, haven't said anything and aren't willing to say what you mean and mean what you say. Stand on your square. This is how it is for me now. I will stand here until what I see happens. I've done it, I'm doing it, and I will continue to do it until that which I've done is perfectly manifested in my world. I will, just like you're a parent every day, regardless of what Gavin and your other kids do, you still show up the same way every day. You're not relying on them to be this or be that or do this or do that. You are the parent. You are the mother. This is the way this is happening. I show up every day because this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and this is how I want things to go. They're immature. They're still young. They're still learning. I mean, not literally immature. I don't mean that, but they're still learning. Well, the people around you may be 50 in body, but they may be 12 in mind. Body getting old is involuntary. Mind maturing is voluntary. You do have 50-year-old 5-year-olds.
Right.
They do exist. They do exist. Right? They exist. Right? They exist. So I want you to change what you are saying about yourself. Not about, forget them. What is this for you? What is your world? You get to create your world, just like that being in the book created this world. Being in the book, that was you before you came into this body. You still have that power. Create your world. This is how it goes for me. All the world means me well and treats me kindly. Everyone is a link in the chain of my good. Everything is always working for my highest and best good. And you say it over and over and over, not the power of affirmations. No, you say it over and over because death and life are in the power of the tongue. But because faith comes by hearing, and whatever you set your attention to, whatever you set your algorithm to, and you keep showing up and showing up like that, you will see your world change because there is a version of you that this already exists, but you have to be willing to move in mind where it exists. You have to be willing to go where there is a Sparkle Bailey out there where everyone loves her, respects her, and appreciates her, but you can't see that, but it's not because it's not available. It's because you've detached your consciousness from it, and you've attached your consciousness to the darkness, to where it doesn't exist. Unattach that, turn it to where it does exist. I now choose to be, I've come home. I'm the prodigal son. I've come back. This pig pen ain't it. I've come back. And now I'm this. I'm the Sparkle Belly that is this, that does this, that does this. This, my relationship with my kids are like this. My relationship with everyone outside of me is like this. My business is like this. My health is like this. If you can control your health, you can control this. God controls everything. What does it say? The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Everything in it and everyone on it and in it. All of it is. So nothing can be against you unless you believe it so. Nothing. Change your mind, Sparkle Bailey. Change your mind. Everything is working for you. And you say it over and over until you believe it. I don't care what you think before you get there. You will get there. Say it every day. Everything's working for my highest and best good. All the world means me well and treats me kindly. Everyone loves to hear me. I'm well respected, well received. Right? I'm the guest of honor everywhere I go. Right? You're not telling this to everyone else. You ain't asking anybody else to worship you. You're just talking about what your experience is. And as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. And you'll see it will change for you because you are the change agent. You are the power to change everything in your world. Not the world, your world. And that's all.
Vero, fly this man to Houston. Y'all come to Houston so I can treat y'all, please.
Yeah.
So, just thank you. Just thank you. I heard you loud and clear.
This should be good for you. This should be, I always tell my mama when I'm talking to people, I try to find things that they're good at and attach it to them. This should be good for you because you're strong. And so now what you have to do is use your strength to persist in telling a new story. Not to fight other people, literally or figuratively. I know you don't do that, but I'm saying literally, not to fight other people, not to blow your top on other people, blow your top at yourself, within yourself, meaning you use your strength to say, I am now choosing a new destiny, a new destination, a new fate. I am in control. I'm the master of my fate and the captain of my ship. It goes as I go. If everybody else gets to control me, I'm not in control. If everybody else gets to make my day, then I'm not as strong or as tough as I think I am. I'm just acting out and acting up, but I'm not the actor. I'm not in control of nothing. I'm just a little pawn in the back. I'm one of the little extras in my own movie. No, step up to center stage and say, this is how it's going for me now. Right? Every day you use your strength to do that. I'm staying in this state until I see it in this state of mind. This is who I am now. This version of Sparkle Bailey has this, it goes like this, and you will see it will come like that as long as you keep your conscience in that. It will show up.
Thank you. Very much. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Karen.
Yes, Karen.
You know, it's almost thank you everybody, and just thank you, I don't really need to speak because you all have hit on it in some shape, form of fashion of what I was thinking. I had a conversation with myself just this week. I had a conversation and a revelation with myself. I would describe myself as the giver, as the one who was there to provide the inspiration, the motivation, and gladly, I might add, because I felt I had the capacity to do it. And even the wallet I would give. The revelation I had this week was, you've been giving to the wrong people, honey. You need to give to yourself. And that revelation was as simple as a light switch. And so that's how my mind, my body, my spirit move. And it's serving me well. And while all of that's going on around me, it's observed that there's something different about her. But it's okay that it's observed. What's in me is the change that needed to happen. And thank God it is happening. After many, many decades, y'all, they say it's never too late. But the change is all within. And now I'm giving myself what I missed, what I need, and it is a part of my journey. And I'm glad to be here. And y'all hit all over it in every shape, form, or fashion. So I thank you. I recently lost my son, and out of that loss came more revelations. So welcome back. Really meant a lot to me.
Wow, well, welcome back. My condolences for that. I'm very sorry for your loss. My condolences. Welcome back. It's always good to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Made this real nice for you. It's real articulate right there.
Yes.
No one to change but yourself. When it was dark in the beginning and there needed to be some light, who was God going to talk to?
God.
Yeah. And is there anyone else? No. If there's darkness in your world, in your life, meaning something that you don't like, you are the only change agent. What does that mean? It doesn't mean there aren't physical people who drop you off at work, or you won't get a ride, or you can't get a loan, or that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that ride or that loan, any physical thing is going to be a reflection of your consciousness anyway. The physical is always a reflection of consciousness. It's consciousness first, physical second. So light is a reflection of consciousness. It was dark because God had not said, let there be light. There was no consciousness attached to a different outcome or to an alternative. If you won't, if you are unwilling to change your consciousness to create something new, you won't get it. You won't have it. It's not because you don't deserve it. It's not because you can't get it or you can't have it. It's because you are the change agent. The physical world is what you use to experience the change, meaning you are the cook. The food doesn't cook itself, but you use things to cook it, right? The eggs don't cook themselves. The eggs don't flip themselves. So you use a spatula, you use a skillet. The things you're using are only being used as a result or reflection of your consciousness. I don't cook. I can't cook. So if I go up in there, the reflection of my consciousness in the kitchen, what do you think it's going to be? What do you guys think it's going to be? I can't cook. Now, don't be hating out here. This ain't no time to take no shots. You know what I'm saying? But if I can't cook and I go in the kitchen, what do you think is going to happen?
You ain't eating.
Well, what's going to happen?
The food is going to be nasty.
Nasty. There might be a fire. Yeah, all that rolling down the street, right? They done called everybody. Smoke coming out the windows. Oh, forget the nasty food. You have yellow walls, burnt food, and the red truck outside with the lights on and everybody getting out, right? So, but my point is that because the food can't cook itself, so that outcome is a reflection of my consciousness. What I'm trying to get you to understand is your life is like that food being cooked. It's a reflection of can you cook or not. But my ability to cook is not physical. It is being expressed physically. It is conscious first. I got an arm just like Veronica does, just like my mom does, just like anybody else does. But that doesn't mean I can use it the same. So it's not a lack of arm. It's a lack of my consciousness, of my awareness of how to use my arm, how to use this spatula, how to use these physical tools. My arm is a physical tool. The spatula is a physical tool. The skillet is a physical tool that allows me to get my idea into reality, so to speak, into physical. That's not, reality is here, right? The expression of it is physical. But in order to make this a physical thing now, it doesn't matter how many physical things I have if I don't have the right consciousness, if I don't have the right idea and understanding and knowledge and wisdom. It doesn't matter what my physical abilities are. I can't express it. I can't use it. So the disaster physically is a reflection of my consciousness. Reverse engineer, roll it back, right? If the kitchen is smoking, it's because I was cooking. Or I wasn't cooking, I guess I was smoking, right? Because I was just out here burning, right? So I want us to understand that our life, our meal is a reflection of the chef. Our life is a reflection of our consciousness. If we want to have a good meal, we go to a good restaurant, it's because we want to have a good meal, which requires a good chef. You can't separate the two. You cannot separate your life from your consciousness. So if you feel like everyone's out to get you, things are always messed up, people don't understand me, I'm not loved, I'm not respected, that's what you're cooking. Now, when you get it, you can justify how bad it tastes or how bad it feels, but you're the chef. I don't cook because I know what's going to happen, and I'm not interested in that, right? But I also can't cook that in my mind either, and then sit around and look at it and say, well, what happened? Look at what you can't cook. You can't think. You're not thinking properly. You can justify not liking the food, justify the people not liking you in the end, but that's just the outcome of your consciousness. You have the ability, once I learn how to cook, then I can use these physical things to express something different, but I didn't get new arms, I didn't get a new leg, new skillet. I got a new consciousness, a new level of understanding that allows me to use my physicality to function different. That's different. That is what we do here. We're not talking about working more jobs, working more shifts, working more hours, getting new skillets, getting new arms, getting new legs. We're not talking about that. We're talking about getting a new mind. That's why it says in the book, be you transformed. Justin, Sparkle, Gavin, Latoya, Monique, all of us, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your transformation requires a shift in consciousness, not physicality. The physicality is a reflection of your consciousness. What you do physically is a reflection of what you first think, and thinking is always first. Consciousness is reality. The expression of that reality we call physical reality. We're not talking about you just like the dyeing your red hair. All you're doing is manipulating. You're trying to manipulate the physical world because you won't change your mind. And unless you change your mind, that's all you'll do. That's all you'll ever be able to do, and you'll never stop being able to do it. Then you get stressed, worried, anxious, afraid, angry, weary and well-doing, all the other things from burnout. Because you can never stop. It will never end because you're not obeying the laws of mind. It's like not obeying the laws of math. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. In that order. Not just whichever ones you like. Oh, I got them all. Use this one first. No, you have to have them all, know how to use them all, and use them in the proper order if you want to get the right answer.
Gavin did say respectfully, please say the Bailey. So it's not just sparkle.
Okay. You know what, Gavin? You're right. You're absolutely right, man. I know.
It's Sparkle Bailey.
That's okay. That's it. I didn't realize it.
I think he thought it was like a first name, last name type thing.
See, you learn something new every day. I blame you. Okay. Yes, right? To all of us, right? To Sparkle Bailey, to Justin, to Gap, to all of us.
Sorry, the way she's hollering you.
Right? So I want all of us to understand that. That's what we're trying to get. Is an understanding of our consciousness is what's creating what we call our physical reality. What we're thinking, how we're thinking, how much we're thinking, what we're thinking about, how we think about it. That is what is being shown to us in our physical world. And that is what we call a manifestation. All it is just a mirror. It's just telling you this is what you're thinking. Just like when you're in Florida, how do you know if there's no signage? If there's no signs anywhere, how do you know where you are? If there's no license plates in that city and the majority of them say this, how do you know where you are? If there's no mirror, how do you know what you look like? So manifestations, physical reality, they're all just mirrors to let you know what's going on in heaven. The earth is letting you know what's going on in heaven. The earth is not created, it's created. You go into earth trying to get it to do something, it doesn't work like that. Something is being done to it. It doesn't do anything to you. Something being done to it. Your heart doesn't attack you. It just, you attacked it. So it, in your consciousness, right? These physical things are just expressions of our consciousness. So what we come here to do is learn how to consciously use our consciousness to express our desired end, our desired outcome. To know that we can, that we should, that we must, and learn that it's a law, just like 2 + 2 is 4. Like the laws of everything. The laws of mind are just as sure, just as certain. That's what every metaphysician, that's what every mind thought teacher will tell you. That's why it says, as a mind thinketh, as a man thinketh, as a human thinketh, as the mind thinketh, according to your faith, according to your expectation, your mind, be it unto you. Death and life in the power of your tongue, in the sense of what you're saying. Well, you're only saying what you're thinking, right? So your death and life are in the power of your mind. Choose you this day whom you serve. Every day you have to choose what you're serving, what version of yourself you're going to be, what version of yourself you're presenting to the world to express and to experience. That starts first within you, within heaven, to be expressed on earth as in heaven, right? On earth as it is in heaven. In heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is in you. That's what it says in the book. That's what everyone is telling you. Who knows what they're saying, right? It's not up in the sky. It's not someone up in the sky doing something to you. It's within you. It is you. And you are one with it. And when you realize you are the golden child, you are the chosen one, not to be something to everyone else, to be something for you, to be what you want to be. To be what you want to be. That's what you're here for, to be what you want to be. If what you want to be helps others and you like helping others, cool. But if that's what you want to be, what does everybody else's opinion about it got to do with you? If everyone else has to like it, love it, agree, support it, respect it, then it's about them, not you. If you learn how to make things properly about you, who do I want to be? How do I want to act? How do I want to respond? How do I want to dress? How do I want to present myself? How do I want to live? And you find and identify that for yourself, then you go out in the world and live like that. It won't matter to you what people are saying or thinking, because you're who you want to be. And if you love yourself enough and respect yourself enough, as we all should, and as we're all learning and remembering to do, then why would you be out here acting a fool? Why would you be out here tackling people? Why would you be out here stealing things? Why would you do anything to desecrate or denigrate your own identity, your own name, your own thing? You wouldn't do that. So you don't have to impress anyone. You can't impress anyone before you're first self-impressed. Stamp can't do anything with no ink on it. It can't impress anything unless it's first self-impressed. If you are self-impressed, you'll be impressive. It's inevitable, because whatever comes in goes out. It's inevitable. Everything starts from within. That's what we're here to learn. That's what we're here to remember and therefore apply. Last thing before I ask anybody else if they have is, if you don't apply this stuff, if you don't use it, if you don't work with it, if you don't apply it, you won't get anything just from hearing. I want you to understand that. That's like, hey, can I have $10? Yeah, here you go, but you can't spend it. But what's the point of getting it something that you can't use or that you don't use? It's the same thing. Whether somebody gives it to you and says you can't spend it, or you get it and you're so afraid of not having anything that you put it in your pocket. So now you die with $10 in your pocket. Why? Why they die? They starved to death. I just found $10 in their pocket. But they didn't want to spend it because they didn't want to be broke. But okay, cool. You're not broke. You're just dead. All right. No problem. Right? If you don't apply what we talk about here in your own ways, in ways that make sense to you, like I said, everybody on here is an individual. So my intention is to give you the principles so that you can take them and apply them to yourself. Like Leslie said, everything is not for everybody or the same way. You have to figure out the truth is for everyone. But how your understanding of it, how you can apply it for yourself as an individual, you have to figure that out for yourself in the sense of, do I like to script or do I like to affirm? Do I like to visualize? Do I like to wake up early and meditate? Do I like to walk with my eyes open, so to speak? And that's my meditation. I don't care what you do it. Do whatever it takes for you to get yourself in a frame of mind that realizing that frame of mind is creating your physical world. However you get in the proper frame of mind, with the knowledge and the understanding, realizing that whatever I am thinking on, entertaining, keeping here, and ruminating on over and over, that is what my physical world is creating, recreating, and everything else. With that understanding, what frame of mind how do I get myself in the frame of mind that I'm thinking properly, that I am having the life I want to have? Whatever it takes to get you in that. Singing, dancing, whatever else it is. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. Do whatever it is for you. Sitting there quietly, talking to yourself, whatever it is for you. But you have to do it. So what we're talking about here, you have to apply. One, you'll never know if it works. And number two, it won't work until you try it. You just talking about it, hearing someone else, feeling real good when you heard it, giving a whole bunch of ones and chats and snaps and clicks and fingers and fires and smiles and hearts, and that's good. But life don't care nothing about that. Right? You have to take this and apply it. You have to know that, hey, until I say let there be light, till I say let there be peace, let there be joy, let there be wealth, let there be health, until I say whatever I want in my world, it's going to be dark. And it's dark because I haven't said. And it'll be dark until I say. It's not dark because somebody else turned the lights off. It's dark because the lights have been off. You're the only one that can turn the light on in your world. What we try to do here, our intention here is to make you aware that there is a light, a switch that you can hit, show you how the switch works, maybe by having our own, like Sparkle Bailey's talking about, or by whatever else it is. But at some point, if you want to be an adult, you have to learn how to hit that switch for yourself. You could be the only one home. You have to learn how to hit that switch for yourself. Lack is nothing but darkness, meaning it's the detachment of consciousness. You have detached yourself from being aware of something, of health, of wealth, of success, of prosperity, of peace, of joy, of being loved and respected. We have detached ourselves from that awareness. So it's dark. Like when you pull the plug out of your computer for too long, the screen goes dark. But when you plug it up, the screen illumines, right? It comes on, it illuminates. When you plug your consciousness into anything, it illuminates. The thing I said, let me get it right. Let me make sure you understand. Write it on the board. I know you heard me, but I want to make sure you understand. Everybody see that? Thing, you see that? Everybody see that?
Yes.
Everybody see it? Pay attention. Make sure you see it. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Do you see how I put any real big? Because it is any. I want you to understand that it's anything. Your consciousness creates every and anything. That means not just the good stuff, praise the Lord, hallelujah, and all the other stuff, and nam yoho renge. I mean, whatever you want to do, right? Whatever you want to call it, however you want to work it. Your consciousness creates things. Which things? See, like a game show contestant, I'm like one of those game show hosts.
Ben Black.
A brand new car. It creates a brand new any. It creates a brand new any. Anything means anything. Everybody does understand that though, right? You do understand, right? You know what it's like? Don't they say this in marriage? For good and for bad, for better and for worse? Yeah, anything are married. The any and the thing are married. The any and the thing are married, for better or worse, good or bad, sickness and in health, stupidity and ignorance, and wisdom. And so they create anything. So now you have to choose. That is what we're here to do, is understand anything and therefore choose something. Go from any to some. You don't want any. You don't want everything. You don't want high blood pressure. You don't want diabetes. There's some any's you don't want. You have to be more specific and turn that any into some now, right? Turn that into some. Turn that into some. Which specific particular things do you want? Whether they're items, whether they're feelings and emotions, whether they're how you're feeling in your mind. I'm always loved and respected. Everything I set my hand to prospers. All the world means me well and treats me kindly as a link in the chain of my good. There's no competition. There's no opposition. I don't have anything coming at me or for me. Nothing can hurt me. Nothing can harm me. I'm always well. Everything is always good. You have to figure out what some things you want to get married to, that you want to be a part of your life every day, just like your name, for better or worse, sickness and in health, till death do you part, like your name. You want to start choosing that. All right. Anyone else? What else we got?
You fixed us all today, Coach.
What'd you say?
I said you fixed us all.
Oh, man. No, we're all learning, man. We're all tuning it up, turning it up. And this is what happens. This is why we have these conversations. And this is what happens when we apply also, right? We're like, oh, okay, I did this, but this didn't work. Or this did work. Oh, yeah, why does that happen? Right? It's like teaching our kids how to ride a bike. It's like teaching them how to write and play cards and do this or do that, right? There's certain things that just have to learn by being on there. We stand around and we pick them up and we're doing the same thing for ourselves and each other. We're all coming together to help, to watch each other ride bikes, to ride bikes with each other, to pick each other up if somebody falls, to show them, oh, no, don't pedal like this, pedal like that. Or make sure you keep your hands on the wheel. That's all it is. We're all on our own journeys, but we're making the same journey. That's why we're here, right? And we're all here to encourage each other and support each other. It's like a big old road trip, right? And we're all here to support each other. And like, did you run out of snacks? Oh, here, I got some snacks. You can take that. You can use that until we get to the next gas station, right? We give each other fuel to keep going, right? We share snacks. We put air in each other's tires. We do whatever it takes for all of us to make this trek, this journey, this pilgrimage, right? Mentally, from who we thought we were to who we really are, to the awareness of who we really are. And the more aware of that we become, the road gets smoother, right? Let me, and it's good because we're talking about this. Let's see if we can find this. Okay. I need you to go to, Judas, how long was it? Let's say Judas betrays Jesus, right? Okay, let's go. Okay, so go to the 22. Yeah, okay, all right. So this is what I mean when I say, like, when you like that, when you like that, people can't. They try, but they can't. Okay, so okay. 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 Go down. I want to see where he. Okay. Okay. Go down. At the end. Okay. Okay. Go down. Where? Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Keep going. Wait. Let's see. Go up. Right there. Let's see. Okay. Uh. Uh. Okay. So, okay. All right. Well, and one of them, basically, Judas, right, portrays Jesus. And if you look at it, even in this one right here, if you can see it, it says in verse 40, the beginning, while he was still speaking, a man who was called Judas, one of the 12 disciples, was leading them, and he approached Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus asked him, Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? Right? And if you look at that, right, we don't have too much time to get too deep into it, but I'm saying it to say this. Jesus is Sparkle Bailey, is Gavin, is Leslie, is all of us. It means it's God in physical form. That is what that character Jesus represented. God in physical form. Humanity that knows who it really is, even though it's in a physical body. So, because God knows everything, when Judas approached him, Jesus asked him, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? He's already telling him what he's going to do. So the question is rhetorical, like, Gavin, are you in them chips again? When your mom asks you something and she already knows the answer, but she's asking you. She's just she's letting you know that I know. So then, even if you did it or you didn't, you're not fooling her. She's just letting you know she knows. So she's asking you a question. So hopefully you don't do what you think you're going to do, or you don't think you got away with what you think you did. Right? He said, are you going to betray me with a kiss? Right? And Judas is a whole other thing. Judas is a Scorpio, and that's why he kissed him, because a Scorpio, the tail, when it pinches, it's like a kiss, like a bite. Right? That's a whole another situation. But my point is that Judas, like God, Judas is not surprised. I mean, Jesus wasn't surprised. My point is there is a faculty within you that's not surprised by what people do, and you're not caught off guard. You can ask the rhetorical question, are you really about to spend that money on them shoes when I tell you to pay that phone bill? There is a part of your mind that knows everything. That part of your mind, Jesus exemplified, showed you. There's that part of your mind, even in your human faculty, that knows, that perceives, right, of what's going to happen. So, and Judas was one of Jesus' 12 disciples. Jesus picked them. So if I know what you're going to do before you kiss me, then you don't think I knew what you're going to do before I picked you? You think I didn't know who you were? So how could you do anything to me if I didn't want you to? I wouldn't have picked you. How could you do anything to me if I didn't allow you to, if I did pick you? You're right where I want you to be. I'm using you for a purpose. You're not hurting me. You're not doing nothing to me. You can't. What did that same character say? No man takes my life from me. I have the power to lay it down and take it up again. You can't do anything to me. I picked you knowing who you were, but I picked you for who you were. You can't harm me. It's not that you're assuming people are against you. It's just realize that you're assuming that no one can be. You're assuming, yeah, you can think whatever you want to think in your mind. You can't do anything to me. Because if I don't do it, it can't be done. If I don't allow it, it can't be done. But me allowing or disallowing is not physical, it's consciousness. It's the assumption that all the world means me well and treats me kind. It just means that you can't do anything to me. I won't allow that in my mind. It won't happen in my mind. So therefore, it can't happen in my life. I can't burn up the kitchen if I don't go in there and cook. I can't go in there and cook if I don't have the idea. So the outcome can't happen without the idea. Any outcome in your life can't happen without the idea. The outcomes in your life are happening as a direct reflection of your ideas, and it's there not to punish you, it's there to let you know what you're thinking. And if you don't like the outcomes, change the idea. When I was young, I used to eat peanut butter and jelly with grape jelly. Then my dad came home one day with some apricot jelly. I haven't been back to grape jelly since.
Got to go back to grape jelly, my boy.
Oh, man,
You're
please.
missing out.
Have you ever tried
You're
apricot
missing out.
jelly?
You're missing
Huh?
out.
Huh?
I'm just being honest.
Man, you know what? Listen, we all make mistakes. We all have a long way to go here.
Yeah, and switching from jelly to whatever you just said, I don't know.
Apricot jelly. Have you tried apricot jelly?
I'm gonna be honest. As a young black 14-year-old, I ain't never heard of it. I'm gonna keep it a stack 10,000.
Okay, well, then make it $5 and go to the store and buy some apricot jelly. And next weekend you apologize to me online.
Gavin, my kids gonna call you uncultured. Uncultured.
Uncultured, okay. My parents only put me,
I
swear, my parents only put me on grape jelly. They ain't never put me on nothing
grape
else.
And strawberry, grape and
strawberry, indeed.
I started with grape. That's all I knew. I didn't buy the apricot. My dad came home with it. We have a place out in LA in Southern California called Knott's Berry Farm. And it's like a smaller Disneyland. But one of the things they do is they make jelly. They make jelly from a lot of different fruits. So he came home with some apricot. I'm telling you, man, I hit it once and it was over. It was over, man. I haven't been back to grape since. I'm just saying, try it. What is one scoop going? I mean,
no, don't get me wrong. I'll most definitely try it.
Yes,
but you can never go
next week.
All I'm saying is that, like, look, you like
next
what you
week.
like, and
when you become a better person, your mom is even going to like you more after you try it. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Watch.
Okay. I'm just saying, from a respectable factor, you like what you like. I like what I like, but you can never go wrong. You can never go wrong.
That doesn't mean you can't get better.
Grape jelly and peanut butter. You can never go wrong.
I can't go wrong with walking, but I take a car.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Respectfully. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The furnace wasn't broken in the 1900s and people were cold when they got gas furnaces and we're going back in time.
How do we start going back in time over a PB&J, Coach? Respectfully.
Because the principle is the same. It wasn't broke, but they sure improved it. Don't you like heat in your room? Or you want to sit out there in one spot? So you know what? I don't have time for you, Gavin. You got me upset. You got my blood pressure.
Known fact, ladies and gentlemen, you can't win a conversation with Coach Lucky.
No, hey, but if you do try it, let me know. I do like strawberry too, but apricot's my thing now, man. I don't know what happened, but it's my thing.
100%.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's always good to hear from you, always. But so yeah, if we're not willing to change our consciousness, right? If we're not willing to do that, we can't change our outcome. And my point is that even when you think someone is betraying, or when you think someone is stabbing you in the back, when you think it's not that it's true, it's the belief that it's true. The belief that it's true makes it true. It makes it happen. But it's not because it had to happen, but because it had to happen because you believe, and you are the believer. You are the power source. So whatever you believe to be true becomes true. Not that it's inevitable. It's just inviolable. Your belief is not separate from your outcome. Your outcome cannot exist without the belief. Right? So that's why it's important what we believe. We've been conditioned to believe that the physical is everything, and that what people do is the only thing, and then we can't, and we're just stuck. But that's not true, because if that were true, it wouldn't bother us. If sickness was just normal and reasonable, it wouldn't bother us when we got sick. We wouldn't try to get healthy as quick as we can, because it's not the truth. It's true, meaning it's truly happening, it's truly being experienced, but it's not the truth. It's not the way it's supposed to really work. It's just what's really happening. So we try to get ourselves back on track, healthy. Same thing on our mind. We try to get ourselves back on track consciously by saying, who am I? What am I? How does this go for me? How does the world go for me? How do things go for me? By choosing that consciously, that is how we consciously express the desired world that we want to live in. Right. So I wanted to show you that even when people think they're doing something, as long as that's not your assumption, as long as you know nothing can be different than what you say, and that only what you say from the inside comes out, only what's going on in heaven can happen on earth, only God creates, then that means you realize who you are. And that means you're the only creator, and there's other people outside of you creating, but no one can dictate your life without you giving them the power to do so. Right? And so you keep that power yourself, that strength. It is hard to keep your power, to not let your friends get you in trouble. You know, when they say that when you're young, I know you have a question, give me one second. You know how I was going to touch on this too. I'll say this real quick. You know, when you're young, your parents say, don't let your friends get you in trouble, right? Because essentially, when you go out of the house, don't act like you don't know what we've talked about. Whether it's how you conduct yourself, what you wear, where you go, everything like that. But you know, they tell you don't let your friends get you in trouble. Well, as adults, we have different type of friends. We don't realize what they are. They become social media. They become the news. They become the economy. They become the weather. They become something outside of your house that makes you abdicate yourself from the agreement. You withdraw yourself from the agreement that you made within your own house. Jesus never did that. That mind never did that. I know what I'm here for. So it don't matter if you hating, don't matter if you lying, don't matter if you cheating, don't matter if you over here trying to get me to mess up. I know who I am. So I don't let my friends get me in trouble. I don't let external things change the agreement that I made within myself to be happy, healthy, safe, prosperous, wealthy, successful, have great relationships. I don't let the world change that. I don't let my friends, anything or anyone outside of you change the agreement that you made within yourself. You don't let your friends say, yeah, it's okay to ditch school, and you know your mom gonna tear you up later. You don't do that. Same thing. You don't let the news tell you that your business is gonna go down because the economy's bad. Don't let your friends get you in trouble. Right? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, apparently there's a jalapeno jelly.
I'm not into that. Can't do that one. I just gone too far for it. I can't do it. Can't do it. See, I can say I can't do it.
At least we can agree on one thing. At least we can agree on one thing.
I can't do that.
Jalapeno jam kind of sounds OD. I'm not
really like, I don't know, maybe if apricot sounds adventurous. I'm not like an adventurous eater.
He's not.
No, if it's too hot, nope. If it's too spicy, absolutely not. If it smells weird, no way. If it looks weird, no way. And no, I'm pretty straight.
But look, think about it. It's the crazy thing, though. Think about it. It's all the mental, but it's the crazy part that it could look so bad. Because I swear, my mom, she made this soup, and it looks so weird. I don't know if it was like a wedding soup. I don't know what it was, but it looked so weird, and it smelled funny. But when I had it, I'm like, hey, wait, hold up. This one kind of fire. Like, what? Like, you got to kind of try it, though. But jalapeno jam, I'm still not trying it.
Oh, yeah, well, man,
look, as appetizing as it sounds, that sounds like just no. That sounds OD. Like there's some things that just shouldn't be turned into jelly. To be honest, like if they made like a mango jelly or a jam or whatever, that would kind of be fire. Thinking about it.
So why mango and not apricot? What's the difference?
I never tried it. I'm just saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You feel me? That's the type of headspace I'm in.
Hey man, I want to ask you one quick question about baseball because the ball's coming too fast and I got hit. And I might traumatized and it's just too much. How do you know what pitch is being thrown at you? Like when it's in the air. How do you know that?
So it's a funny thing. It's kind of like a guessing game. Like when you go up to the plate and you're about to swing, you kind of have to have a plan there. So based off the person that just went in front of you, you can be like, okay, he threw a fastball, then a ball, curveball. You can kind of tell before you go up. So he's most likely going to throw that exact same order. So I just, go based off that exact same order and then try to get a hit off of that.
Can you tell what pitch it is when the ball is in the air? Like the rotation of the ball? How can you tell what pitch it is?
So certain, yes. Like if he throws the ball and it's instantly straight towards me, like straight towards the plate, it's a fastball, obviously. But if the ball goes like in an up-down rotation, it's a curveball. You can tell by the motion of the ball when you're up to the plate. But I'm also a catcher, so it's kind of more easy for me to study those type of pitches as a baseball player.
Oh, okay. I always wanted to know that because I'll never know in person. They hit me too many times in elementary.
No, trust me. This is my fifth tournament in the row where I've gotten hit. Like where I've gotten a hit or I've gotten hit by a baseball while hitting. So at this point.
That's awesome. Dude, that's cool. That's super cool. Man, well, yes. Okay. So I hope today my intention is that all the different conversations we had helped us all collectively. I hope that it's so. Is there anything anyone else wanted to say or ask before I let you guys go on Saturday? It is 9, so I want to be mindful of everyone's time. But I am glad that we had this time to kind of talk about a couple different things. Is there anything anyone else wanted to say?
All I got to say, everybody stay optimistic.
I like it.
I just want to tell you thank you again, because even like Justin asked a question about himself, and even though like the way you answered it and the way he posed his question, it was like, oh wait, I'm experiencing the same thing, even though my context is different. I just left a relationship, and like the way you broke it down, I was like, okay, I am making. You know, and I loved it. So I just thank you, Coach Lucky.
Oh, my honor and pleasure. My honor, all of you guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have one final thing.
Yes.
Pepper jelly is awesome, and I dare anybody to say different in front of my face.
Gavin, where are you at now? Where are you at now? You've assaulted me verbally all day. Where are you at now?
If that's the game you want to play, be careful what you wish for.
That's the only game, man. That's the only game. The one you want to play.
Oh, that's awesome.
Don't make me turn into Triple H up in here, I swear.
That's it. That's it. Hey, man. I'm going to stop, man. I will come off the top of everybody. Oh, man. Hey, well, thank you all. I really appreciate you all. It's always an honor and pleasure every weekend. It's good to see so many of you, the real estate educator. It's good to see y'all, so many of you that I haven't seen or that I don't really get a chance to see or talk to if the screen is different. So, and I'm up here running my mouth. So it was nice to just talk about the things that we want to talk about as a group today, and to remember that we are here to support each other, to learn, and to apply what we've learned in our own individual capacities and ways, but apply it. Use it, apply it. Remember who you are and live it and apply it, because that's the only way you'll ever see. And boy, oh, taste and see that the law, it is good, right? That you'll see it. So have a great Saturday, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Remember, next week, we're always open 6:30 Pacific time, 9:30 your time, most of you. So come early if you can. It's always good to talk to everyone, and it's good to know where we are. And so we're always making sure we're talking about things that are helpful and meaningful to us all, right? So thank you all. I appreciate you all. It's always an honor and pleasure. Have a great day, great weekend, and we'll circle back next week.
Thank you, Coach Lucky. Thank you as always. Thank you so much. Please do something. Y'all do something today. You and Vero, y'all please do something like extra special today. Like, thank you. Thank you. If it weren't for Vero, we wouldn't be here with you. Give her credit. And Vero, if it weren't for him being exactly who he is, we wouldn't be here with you. We wouldn't have a reason to. Like, honestly, not saying like you, but he's bringing the heat, and he's communicating so effectively. We keep coming back. Y'all go treat yourselves today. Like, this is love. This is healthy love. Thank you. Thank you.
And
thank you. And this was the treat. Thank you.
Yes, it was. Yes, it is. It's wonderful. So thank you all. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate all of you being here. Let's go out and win. Let's go out and win. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.